The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 1. It was devastating. I'm not really shocked about who died. Spoiler, it was Glenn and Abraham. Abraham died first, and then because of Daryl, Glenn died. But of course, I kind of figured if it wasn't Daryl, they would have came up with some other excuse to get rid of Glenn. Okay, so overall, the episode, in my opinion, was terrible. I didn't need to see Rick broken down like that. Personally, I think in the comics, it worked better with Negan breaking him like that and him saying it, because Negan, he didn't really respond like he did in the TV show. And I think it just made a little bit more sense. On a TV show, I don't really think it connected, at least in my opinion, because even if someone says, I'm gonna kill you, not now, not today, not tomorrow, after everything you did, I felt like that was kind of unnecessary, and the writers just didn't know what to do to help us kind of go forward and show us what happened. I don't think it was a very well written episode, in my opinion. I think it had its up points, but I would give it like a very low score. Here's why I didn't like it. It's one thing to kill Abraham, but I think it's another to kill Glenn the way you killed Glenn. You didn't even give us like a story. I feel very jilted, and I think it's disrespectful to Steven the actor, and I think it's disrespectful to Glenn the character. He was the only Asian character on the show. We've got enough white characters on this show, and there's going to be more to come. So I don't really understand why they feel so hyped up about this or was planning this for 2 years. I think by killing him, you kind of let us know, like, you could have killed him in season 6 as the finale and killed Abraham for the season 7, but you didn't. And I kind of feel like it was a waste of a cliffhanger. I am disappointed in the show. And after killing one of my favorite characters, because I only have the two, Michonne and Glenn, I don't know about this show anymore. I really don't. I guess the only thing that kind of gives me hope is I pray that this gives them an incentive on the show, like it should have in the comics, to actually kill Negan. Not let him live like they did in the comics. I never understood that. Somebody kills your best friend, you don't just have a change of heart all of a sudden after 2 or 3 years and you just kind of let it go. And if you don't get an opportunity, or if you get the opportunity to avenge your best friend, you don't just let that drop by. No, you kill them. I don't care. And that's how I kind of figured. To me, maybe comic book Glenn didn't mean as much to comic book Rick as he should to TV Rick or TV Maggie. I feel that that's the only thing that's keeping me in the show. The hopes that he'll die. If he doesn't die, or if I kind of feel like they're not going to do it, I'm going to stop watching the TV show. And people can get mad and say, oh, I'm not a true fan, blah, blah, blah. I really don't care, because to me, that it never made sense. To me, that's not good writing. Good writing has a point where you say, okay, he did something wrong. There needs to be justice for this. It's kind of like they just let him live because they love the character. And when they start doing that, that's when they start picking favorites. And that's how we're left with Daryl. And I just think this overall episode would have been better had they given us the tour of what was going on with the van. They should have focused on the van. They should have focused on Glenn, since we knew he was going to die. And because we already got season 6 full of Abraham. Like, the finale was Abraham's death story. So why didn't we get, like, Glenn's death story for the first episode instead of, like, Rick? We know he's going to live. Rick didn't lose Michonne. He didn't lose Carl. So I feel like we should have focused on the people we lost, not the people that we still have. Because we'll have them for another episode, even if it's just 2 or 3. But we won't have any more Glenn. That was the end of Glenn. And to me, That's just not how you make a beloved character go out. Like, in my opinion, that's just not what you do. That's not how you make him go out. Especially without giving us more of his like history. And yeah, you can put flashbacks in between the episodes, but it's just gonna be jarring now. Everything dedicated to Glenn, so far as flashbacks, should have been there. We should have seen a flashback of him delivering pizzas, of his family, of his life, of things that we don't know about Glenn. You know, because I don't think it's fair to have the actor have to go through that trauma to go back on set. He's not there anymore and shoot scenes. Who's going to do that? I don't know anybody. And I know you're not going to pay him to do that. So when they say they're going to give us flashbacks, what they really need to say is they're just going to go back to the episodes that they previously recorded or any of the outtakes and use those. And that's just not going to work for me. So I think the only thing holding me on to the show is Michonne. And if anything happens to her, I'm legitimately done. And I won't even look back. I'll just go on to something else. And I guess the other bad thing is the show is going to lose a lot of people after this episode. Not because of just who they killed, but because people feel like you're taking advantage of them. And you think just because you might have an outstanding season 7 opener, that's going to mean you're going to have a great open like season 7. That does not mean that. And you know, you kill off the only Asian, you have isolated a whole entire group of people who watched the show just because there was an Asian guy on the show who wasn't a stereotype, who was the heart of the show. It just makes it unbalanced. And I see why some of my friends have stopped watching. I'm not mad at them. I'm not going to try to convince them to keep going. I think he deserved better, personally. And that's my review. Thanks, guys. I have another one coming out.